Hi. So right now we'll discuss about the DNS, domain name server. We'll talk about why it works and what's the importance of it. Because most of the time recently these days we saw a lot of service downs, such as one is a Cloudflare. Consequently, Cloudflare, since it is not directly visible to us, we could see many websites were down recently, like Perplexity, GitHub, and other such platforms. Generally, most of the time, it is just like this only. Even Amazon Web Services, they all no company is actually immune to the DNS related issues because it's generally there everywhere. And simply DNS is a one important link actually between any kinds of service and the person who is actually consuming that service. So what is this DNS? DNS is simply an address book. Okay, what do you mean by address book? Address meaning, normally for machines, let us say we have machines, for example. So machines won't get, so we'll see this one here. We'll see this one here. See, let us say we'll talk about a website called GitHub. GitHub.com, we all aware of that. We are all aware of GitHub.com, right? So in the GitHub.com, what's happening is that you will be having lot of servers like this. These are computers. Lot of computers would be there in the GitHub company. So what they'll do, they'll give us they'll run their apps and services there, and from there we'll already get access to these GitHub.com services. So for GitHub.com, they'll be having an IP address. Machines doesn't have direct direct names like github.com, abc.com. They'll Every machine gets assigned something called an IP address, just like our phone numbers or numbers. Like that, machine also have numbers which will look like this. These are called IP addresses. These are called IP addresses, and this is specifically IPv4 address, and these are the kinds of IP addresses. And for a website as big as github.com, you'll be having a very big a lot of IPs, not just this one. You'll be having multiple IPs. But the thing is, whenever we can't remember all these wording, unlike our mobile number, only one mobile number we'll be having, we can actually remember and we'll try to contact them directly. But for the website, it's very hard to actually know exactly which IP address for which machine, and how many machines, how many IPs they have. So the simple thing is, if we want to visit GitHub, if we want to get something from GitHub, you simply type github.com. So for that to happen, GitHub actually provides all these IPs list, and it keeps it somewhere. And in the background, whenever we ask a browser for github.com, the something nice happens in the background. One of that is, there's something called an there's something called an address book, which is also called a DNS. So these IPs are mapped to the github.com, just like in a phone book our name is mapped to the number. So in this one, so this will have something called address book, and that address book will be having this IP address is assigned to github.com. Whenever we say github.com, you provide this IP or this IP. So when that is how we'll know, the machines, the computers know that, okay, when you say github.com, I have to go and talk to this machine, like this. See this? So github.com, you type in, and actually what will happen, there is an address book. And okay, if you see this 8.8.8.8, this is, so address books are actually owned by companies. Some companies provide, because address book is something, a free service has to be provided by some companies which have a lot of resources. So 8.8.8.8, it looks fancy. Yes, it is so. So 8.8, this 8 series one is provided by the Google DNS server, and 1.1.1.1 is provided by the Cloudflare company. So these are the important providers of the DNS, which provides, which has an address book of every website available on the internet. And that list, so whenever we type in github.com, the first thing that happens is the website's name is actually uh, asked in this address book, okay, hey, I'm trying to reach to github.com, do you happen to have its IP address, that is its internal IP address, its IP address that's available to us. So what you will be doing, you will be getting that IP and you directly connect to it. It's actually called something, it's also called a public IP. I already mentioned that machines will be having IPs, machine will be having numbers like this, but not every number is visible to outside. So the company decides, okay, these are the numbers that should be visible to outside of the outside of the company, so that people can access the services. Internal services we should not access. Okay, this is the one easy thing we'll say about the DNS, that it's like you have a website name and how it reaches the company servers. Simple. So that's all about DNS. Now there is one thing where we'll think about the failure scenarios. See, we'll just discuss. We already discussed 1.1.1 is owned by Cloudflare 8 or 8888, or it's some you can all actually call 84 or 14. It's a Cloudflare or Google. Those services are free, by the way. So there are some failure service. What will happen if sometimes you have github.com working, github.dev is not working? Just for example, both are owned by same company, but the IP, this .dev and this is .com, so this is a different thing, this is a different, it's like two different addresses. So it will be having two different IPs even though they are owned by the same company. It's like we both know that if we know that if a company can have multiple branches the same way,